Hi, and welcome to the Afrocentric Woman. Our mission is to inspire Black women to heal core wounds to live an abundant and luxurious lifestyle. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much to our subscribers for subscribing and for coming back. Please hit the notification bell and hit like. Thank you. So let's get into it. This is in reference to a video that I recorded recently called Tesla versus Dusty. So definitely, if you haven't watched that video, watch that video first, and then this will make sense. But regardless, I believe that there may be themes in this video that sort of transcend all of some of the topics that are presented here on the channel. Various topics about Black women choosing better, requiring more, doing more vetting, being more selective with our dating choices, and making sure that we are investing into our life and attracting men who want to invest into our life as well. So there was a comment that was left on the Tesla versus Dusty video that I had to delete. I was gonna leave it on the channel, but the only reason why I deleted the video, pardon me, the only reason why I deleted the comment was because they name called on me, and that's not acceptable. It's just I'm not gonna accept that on this channel. That's my boundary, and you can disagree with me, and you'll see in other videos there are people disagreeing with me. There are people who don't like what I have to say. There are people who are really sort of making their arguments, random arguments, and totally just disagree with everything that I say. And that's fine. I really don't mind that. The name calling is the part that made me delete the comment. So even though I deleted the comment, in my notifications, I was still able to screenshot the first half of it. So the first half of this comment, I will read to you verbatim as the commenter said, and then the rest of it I will paraphrase because I pretty much remember what they said, and I'm going to provide my commentary on that. Now, I started to reply to this Dusty commenter, but I decided not to. Like, if I'm going to spend energy, I would prefer to spend my energy with you than arguing with a Dusty. Refer to my video called Don't Argue with Dusties. Okay? And so I'm going to hold true to that for 2021 and going forward. I don't argue with Dusties. I just don't. Okay? So if I'm going to be talking to anybody, if I'm going to be expending energy, it's going to be in something fruitful and valuable. And I feel like my connection and my interaction with you is very fruitful and it's very valuable and it's very fulfilling and rewarding for me to share my story, to share my mistakes, to share my successes, to share my lessons, to share my journey with you. That's a better use of my time because the Dusty at the end of the interaction is still going to be Dusty. But I'm hoping that at the end of the interaction that you and I have, that there'll be enlightenment, that there'll be, epiphanies, that there'll be new thoughts, that there'll be, different way of looking, or just affirmation in what you're already doing. I hope that our interaction will be a positive influence on your life. That is my intention. So I do suggest that you watch the Tesla versus Dusty video. It's very short, so it won't take you long. But I'll give you a brief summary here. So basically in this Tesla versus Dusty video, I tell you a story about last summer when my neighbor and I started dating guys around the exact same time. The guy that I was dating had resources and he shared those resources with me, and he was able to afford me the opportunity to experience a lot of luxurious things around town. And he is the first guy that I've dated that drove a Tesla. Now, since then, I've dated other guys that drove a Tesla, but it was just cool. Like, I had heard about them, but I'd never been in a Tesla before. And so for me, it was fun. It was just fun and interesting. And I just enjoyed the experience. And I just enjoyed being present and just saying, this is just a cool experience for me to have. So meanwhile, I'm doing all of this. She gets with this guy who has no car. He moves into her place. He moves in some of his family members into her place. It seems like he doesn't have a job because he's always there. You know, she became loud, unruly. I saw her, um, well, I would more so say that was the people he was bringing around that were loud and unruly. I just had seen her intoxicated a couple times after being involved with him, and I'd never seen that before. Like, this is totally like out of character, and I'd been her neighbor for a few years now. So it was just out of character, you know, when someone's just acting out of character. And so it was just totally unheard of for her to just move this guy in and for him to kind of bring down her quality of life and restrict her and constrict her because he's out gallivanting in her car and she's trapped at home, you know. So it's just polar opposites. And my main point in this video that I did was that we are both brown skinned Black women who have children. She's pretty. I'm pretty. She has a bubbly personality. I have a nice personality. There's no reason why she can't experience what I'm experiencing. And the main point that I was driving in the video was that the main difference between us is the fact that we have different choices. We made different choices. We have different standards. That's it. But pretty, great personality, kind, brown skinned Black women with traditional, you know, or rather phenotypically African features. You know, she's not an exotical. I'm not an exotical. I look like a Black woman. Okay. Not mixed with nothing. I'm Black mixed with Black. Okay. She's Black mixed with Black. So that's the whole point. And that's the point of this channel. The point of this channel is to show specifically dark skinned and brown skinned Black women that we have the ability to play the game different, the game of life. We have the ability to choose better. Our choice in mate is critical, and it will inform the trajectory of our life. It will inform the trajectory of our ability to rise out of poverty, to rise out of circumstance. The choices that we make in a mate can either propel us forward in life, hold us back, or catapult us back, anchor us down. You know, that's the point. So, the commenter left, the Dusty commenter left the message on on the video. So I will read you the half that I can, and I'll paraphrase the rest. So this person says, sounds to me like she's just living her life, connecting with folks on a human level, while you are basically selling yourself, referring to me, while you're basically selling yourself to the highest bidder. Jumping in and out of Teslas is nothing to be proud of. And I think it was, just to paraphrase, it was something like, you're just basically promoting glorified prostitution, and you should be ashamed of yourself. That's what was no, I think he's like, you're a glorified prostitute and you should be ashamed of yourself. That was what was left on my video. And you know, I didn't want to respond to this Dusty because I don't argue with Dusties, and this person is going to be committed to this thought process, so I feel like just leave them where they are. But for you, you are going to be presented with these accusations if you embrace a better lifestyle for yourself. If you start telling people that they're not qualified for your time, or if they, even if you don't say that explicitly, but they feel like they're not entitled to your time and entitled to your attention and entitled to your affection, and you have standards that they don't meet and you have requirements that they don't qualify for, they will hurl these exact same accusations to you that were hurled at me. So what I want to do is kind of break down how I would encourage you to be fortified within yourself, to make the choices and to stand firm and to stand 10 toes down in what you're doing. Because there are going to be a lot of crying, whining, tantrum throwing dusties. They're going to be infuriated with you for having the audacity to have standards. Who are you to have standards when you're a brown skin or dark skinned Black woman? You should just move a so-and-so into your house with no car and no job and take care of him the way you're taking care of your kids. You should just do that and be grateful and thankful. Now, uh, let me see. Accountability. Okay, so let's talk about that. These same males who are calling me a prostitute for having standards and for having fun dating are the same people who, let's say in this case scenario, let's just say hypothetically, this did not happen, but let's just make up a story. Let's say that she moved this guy in there. He didn't have a car. He didn't have a job. He didn't have anything going for himself. He went in there and he abused her kids. She got pregnant for him. He abandoned her with the baby. So now she has the kids that she already has who are now traumatized from this guy. And she has another baby and he's gone. He's not there to help her. Those same guys who are criticizing me, who are criticizing like me for having standards would be the same ones to throw mud in your face and to spit on you and to walk past you with your baby with no baby daddy and to tell you to choose better. They'll tell you that. They'll say, oh, look at you. Why would you move some Negro in your house who ain't got no job? You're so stupid. Why would you let him drive your car? That's why you are where you are now. They will have no compassion for you. Period. They won't have no compassion for you. They won't be understanding to your plight. Like, oh, well, she probably just, maybe had a low self-esteem, or maybe she just wanted some companionship, or don't take it. So they will have all the smoke for you, the Black woman, and they will have zero smoke for the person who abandoned the family. He can ride off into the sunset and live life happily ever after. It's a complete double standard. And don't, embrace that. Just accept what is. There is a double standard. With Dusties, you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. So you might as well do what you have to do to protect yourself, to do better for yourself, and to do better for your bloodline, for your children, for your grandchildren, for your great grandchildren. You have to make the choices based off yourself. You will never be able to please them. Because if you say no, you're not qualified, I'm not going to talk to you because you don't have a car, you don't have a job, you don't have anything to offer me, you're a prostitute. You're just selling yourself to the highest bidder. But if you get with someone who's down in the gutter, who doesn't have anything to offer you, and things go awry, you're stupid. You make bad choices. You see? You see the game here? They will have you in a state of confusion, chasing your tail because you can never win with those Dusties. You can't. And they'll tell you, I don't want you. But damn if you don't, they don't want us in one sense. They don't want us, but they want us to be available, perhaps to be a resource to them. Does that make sense? I hope I'm making sense. They want the opportunity to use us, even though we're not their preference. They don't on a large scale elevate dark skin and brown skin Black women as, beautiful, delicate prizes. That's not how we're elevated among Black men, unfortunately. Right? But they don't want you to say, fine, you don't want me, cool, go on about your way, let me do me and let me find the best opportunity for myself. Then you're a wench, you're this, you're that. When things go wrong, oh my goodness. Standards terrify these guys because they don't qualify. And when they don't qualify, they have a tantrum. Like this guy had a tantrum in my comment section. He had a full-grown adult tantrum. There's another double standard that you need to be aware of. Black men are able to express any and every type of preference that they have. Every single one of them. I only date light-skinned women. I only date women with a big booty. I only date women with long legs. I only date women with curly hair. I only date mixed women. I only date white women. I like Latina women. I like Asian women. I like petite women. I like thick women. I like women with small waist and big ass. I only date women with a master's degree. I only date women who've never dated more than 5 people. I only date virgins. I only date. They're able to say anything that they want. But Black women, if you express a dating preference, get ready to be put on the guillotine. Like they have a adult tantrum, especially when your preferences are financial, especially when your preferences are financial. They just can't accept it. And they will, because I think that this guy probably, the guy who like had a tantrum, he probably wants a Tesla and can't afford one. So he's taken out his anger towards me, and towards, and he's taking the anger out towards my situation. The thing about it is, if these males would direct their energy towards the males who are dominating in society so that they can get a piece of the pie instead of aiming their vitriol and their hatred towards Black women, they would start winning. They would start winning. They would start winning even more. But it's terrifying to know that, well, I really don't have to perform in life and I can always just fall back and get a dark skin or brown skinned Black woman because I don't really have to have shit going on for one of them to be with me. That's comforting to them. It's comforting. It's comforting. So when you have a Black woman like me, and there's, I don't know if I'd say thousands because I don't know thousands, but I would venture to say at least hundreds that are ADOS African American women who are encouraging African American women to have better standards consistently. We terrify them. They are shaking in their boots because we are taking away potential resources for them to exploit. They have had the ability for decades and centuries. They have had the ability to underperform in life and to just rely on us to pick up the pieces. They can be able to rely on us to hold everything down while they can have an extended adolescence. They can have an extended adolescence. They can just be adolescents and well into their 40s and 50s. And we'll just hold it together and we'll just be there for them and we'll just mule for them. And it's not just Black men, all of society especially expects Black women to mule for them, to be the soldiers, to be on the front line, to take all the pain, to take all the anguish, to be every time, America has a cold, Black women have a flu. And everybody just expects us to be there for it. It's like, oh no, we're not doing this. Black men are more angry than white women. There were the white women mad too. They mad too. That we're not muling. They're mad too. But Black men are particularly mad, and Black men, unfortunately, can become violent, both verbally and physically towards us when we don't want to be a resource towards them. Now, all that energy, they could take that energy and invest it into creating businesses for themselves. They could go get a certification. They could go back to school and learn a new trade. They could, ask for a raise at their job. They could try to get another position in their company. There's so many different things that they could do to have more resources, which resources always gives you options. And when you're a man, resources gives you options and choices in women because women want resources. And the reason why it's so game changing is because Black women have really historically not prioritized resources the way our counterparts, the Asians and the whites, the way they prioritize resources. So now that we're saying, okay, you know what, reflecting back on the past 100 years, this shit is not working for us. So we need to change the game and we need to actually prioritize resources. They're shaking in their boots. They are terrified. I think I've said all I need to say about this. I think that I've said all that I need to say. Oh, there's one other little I'm sorry, there's two, actually two things that were said in the comment that I failed to mention. I'll mention now. One thing that this Dusty commenter said was that you think you're better than her. Like, insinuating that I think I'm better than my neighborhood. And you guys live in the same neighborhood, so obviously you're in the same boat or something like that. And the other thing he said was hopping in and out of Teslas is nothing to be proud of. So let me just address both of those things. First of all, about the better than her thing. Listen, these Dusties have listening comprehension skills deficit. They have a listening comprehension skill deficit. I explicitly said she and I are both brown-skinned Black women with children who live in the same neighborhood. She is pretty. I am pretty. She has a great personality. I have a good personality. There's nothing separating us besides our choices. I explicitly said that, but the Dusty is being intentionally ignorant, being intentionally misunderstanding me for the purpose to serve his inadequacies and mediocrity. You see? So they will intentionally mishear you and be intellectually dishonest if it will serve their uh if it will serve their paradigm. And it's happened in other comments and other videos. Now, those comments are still visible because the person is not name calling. So long as you're not name calling towards me and you're not being super belligerent, you can leave a negative comment. That's fine. I don't care. I don't need everybody to just clap and agree with me. I understand that Black women stopping mutilating and Black women starting to prioritize themselves. I understand that that is a controversial topic. I get it, and it's fine. The other thing, hopping in and out of Teslas is nothing to be proud of. Um, I'm not necessarily proud about hopping in and out of Teslas, but I am proud about where I am as it pertains to my dating now versus 5, 6 years ago, versus 10 years ago. I am proud of that. And I'll stand 10 toes down in that. I am proud. And if I had known what I know today, whew, Lord, I would be in a totally different situation. I've lost a lot of money and a lot of time dealing with Dusties. I've lost a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of heartache and a lot of tragedy dealing with Dusties. If I knew what I know now 10, 15 years ago, or even when I first started dating, and I was, talking to, no, I wasn't talking to a Black woman. I was listening to one of the girls, well, one of the women in one of my groups talking about starting dating and, her mom giving her sort of vague advice, but not really the hands-on, do this, do that, say this, say that, go here, go there. He said this, you need to say that. There are so many Black women who didn't have that type of hand holding. We were literally just sent out to the wolves, and I think it's just a baby boomer thing. The baby boomers just did not really talk to us about how to navigate dating. They just didn't. So there's so many of us who just kind of figured things out along the way. Some of us figured things out, hopefully, before we've had too much tragedy, before we had too much loss. But a lot of times we come out into the situation, we have children with people, with men who are not participants, who are not active, who are not healthy, and that's an economic burden on us as Black women. We head the most single households because the men aren't there participating with us in raising the child. So, you know, I I just want to be that to somebody else, and I love seeing the 20-year-old girls. I love seeing them getting it and not putting up with the bullshit, not getting caught up. Look at Lori Harvey. Bravo to her. Not getting caught up with this baby by this dad, this baby by that one, you know, believing every little Negro that whispers a sweet nothing in your ear. No, her mama, you got to give it up to Marjorie. Marjorie trained that girl, that young woman. Marjorie has been there by her side, making sure that she makes the right moves. She's 20 something. Yes, she's enjoying her life as she should, but she's not with this one getting disrespect. No one's disrespect. Have y'all noticed how ain't nobody disrespecting Lori Harvey? Have y'all noticed that? Have you noticed, have you heard maybe a couple of her men have been a little salty, but for the most part, she's coming out of these relationships unscathed. Unscathed. Did you hear me when I say that? She's coming out of these relationships unscathed. She's going on trips, you know. These men are investing into her life. She ain't got no bunch of baby daddies. And that's the way it should be done. And that's the way it should be done. So kudos to her, kudos to Marjorie, and kudos to everyone who is investing into themselves and leveling up. Dusties will come and Dusties will leave their commentary. It's a part of the game. What can I say? But I won't be responding to them. I don't go back and forth with Dusties. They're going to just stay dusty. There's no PowerPoint presentation that you can present. There's no argument. There's no mental gymnastics that you can do with a dusty to bring them over to your side. Leave them where they are and find people who are like-minded, who are in similar pathways as you. Find something productive to do with your time and feel comfortable, because you don't need validation from a dusty to do what you're going to do. And if it's not healthy. So you don't need them to affirm you. You don't need them to agree with you. You need them to see your point of view. You don't need them to see you the way you see yourself. When you look in the mirror, you're going to see something. And that's what you should believe. The dusty is going to look at you and they're going to say something totally, they're going to say something to diminish you, something to devalue you. But that isn't your truth. So you don't have to believe in that. So thank you for tuning in, and I wish you to have a wonderful night. Peace.